Welcome, everybody. Welcome. Beautiful to be with you. See, we have a small group this week, and I think I might have said something confusing on the last satsang. But anyways, welcome. Welcome. Nice to be here. Okay, let's just take a moment. A couple other people are stumbling into the room. Here they come. Here they come. So many of us are just returning from the retreat, and what a lovely weekend we had together. And so our next retreat is a big one. It's at Kripalu in person, July 14th through 19th, if you can come. I hope you can. Okay. You know, some of you who pay attention real closely to these teachings and who work with me often have heard me express some frustration recently. Frustration with some people's egos and their egoic natures. And you know what happens? It happens when we're on a path and you actually work with a teacher and you work personally with the teacher. You'll see that sometimes that teacher gets frustrated with you. And the frustration has arisen, you know, out of just this basic truth that needs to happen on the part of the student. And it's this willingness to stop, this willingness to take control of one's mind. You know, when I first met my teacher, my mind was a mess. It was a mess. And he looked at me, and I can remember I was outside working on his deck, and my mind was a mess. He saw it. He saw that I was visually suffering. And he looked at me and he just said, do you want to know how to get control of your mind? And I said, yes, yes, I do. I do. And with that, he said, okay, good. Then I want you to come Sunday morning. And we had our first meditation class together, and it was just me and him. It was so beautiful. It was such a beautiful invitation. Do you want to learn how to get control of your mind? And you're going to have to forgive me. I have to attend to something. I think there's something on fire in my house. Give me a second. I'll be right back. Okay, sorry about that. A little bit of drama here at my house. Had a little something burning up in the kitchen. So let me see if I can feel into what I was saying again. And so my teacher, he saw that I was in pain. He saw it. And he invited me to come to learn how to train my mind. And often in modern spirituality, you know, some people, they write emails and they say, well, what is the difference between allowing everything to be as it is, which is, of course, something we need to know how to do, know how to be, rather. But we also have to take responsibility for our life. And often there's people who don't want to take responsibility. And they say, I really like this teaching on allowing everything to be as it is. But sometimes the things that we allow to be as they are is just like this continual suffering of our mind. We're just spinning and spinning and spinning in an insane way. And at some point, we have to be willing to look at our mind and say, stop, stop, stop. And to be willing to disengage from the craziness of our mind. Now, with you in this group, when we have Kundalini and the Kundalini brings up intensity in our body, sometimes our mind will have a tantrum. We'll have a tantrum. It'll say, what is this? What's all this energy? This is too much. This is overwhelming. And we kind of get into that egoic cycle of complaining. And the more we complain, the more agitated we become. And our breath becomes quite shallow. We're not breathing deep into the belly. We're not having faith in our truth. We're not having faith in our peace. We're not having faith that this light of Kundalini Shakti is here to transform us. But instead, we have faith in our thinking mind, our emotional mind that says, this is too much. This is too much. At some point, we have to look at our experience and choose the truth. We have to choose to identify with that which within us is the truth. If we just identify with our overstimulated and neurotic and anxious and controlling nervous system, we're not going to get anywhere on the path. We're not going to get anywhere. Gangaji, if any Gangaji, it's interesting because I know a little bit about Gangaji, but on the Enneagram, like the Enneagram, I like to call it a chart, but it's not a chart. But in the Enneagram model, Gangaji is a type 4, and 4s are the ones who are quite dramatic. Like, with all their feelings, and they have all the feelings, and they display their feelings with just great deal of drama. They tend to be like the most emotionally dramatic individuals on the path, if we're just looking from the perspective of the Enneagram. And let's say like a 5 might be like the most repressed, just to kind of give it, a little bit of comparison here. So like a 4 is the most expressive. A 5 just like keeps everything in and just shuts up and represses everything. But Gangaji, she showed up to her teacher, Papaji. Papaji is a student of Ramana Maharshi. And Papaji gave her like this one major teaching. She came, with some level of drama or some level of seeking, some level of grasping. And we all know this in our own experience, like when things are overwhelming and our mind is seeking, it's grasping, it's running, it's fighting. And Papaji looked at Gangaji and said, stop. Just stop. Just stop. And in the stopping, we root ourselves in silence. It's like we choose to see the silence which is here. And within this space of silence, all the energy can still run. the energy of Kundalini, but it can run without that voice that comes forward and says, I can't handle this. This is too much. And so when we identify with that voice, and the voice has this thought, it's killing me. God is trying to kill me. God is punishing me. This isn't fair. This isn't right. Whatever it comes, like however the voice of resistance comes within you, we look at that voice and we say, stop, stop. And we root down and we open up into the nature of Shiva, which is vast, spacious silence. Vast, spacious silence. And so we won't know the nature of Shiva. We won't know the nature of Shiva if our mind is running the show. We won't get anywhere on the path if we're all worked up about politics all the time. We'll be lost in confusion. We'll be lost in the illusion of the mind. The great illusion of the mind is, I think I know what's happening. It doesn't even say I think, it says I know what's happening. When we stop, we're looking at our mind and we're saying, no, the game is over. You are not in charge of me. For what I am is vast, vast space, vast peace, vast openness and depth. I am something greater than a movement of insanity. When I was quite young and my first girlfriend broke my heart, I think I was like 14 years old or something. I just saw my mind is crazy, completely and utterly crazy. But also in that moment, I saw that there is something here that is not crazy. And so when this awakening happens to you, when Kundalini is flowing in you, when we're on a path and it's difficult and it's overwhelming, when we have a sister or brother who drives us crazy, and we walk away from that sister or brother, or mother or father or child or whatever, and we're continuing to ruminate and think and replay the story over and over again in our mind, we're carrying this insanity into the future. And at some point, we have to say, stop. Stop. I am not engaging in this dynamic. And when you stop engaging in the insanity of the mind, and you begin to open into this vast, spacious presence that you are, you begin to discover that all things are falling into place. You actually learn about letting everything be as it is. But I love it when spiritual egos take a teaching, co-opt it, and tell me, Craig, you should allow me to be as I am, and I'm a hot mess. And I'm identifying with being a hot mess. And I'm going to fight with you, defending this hot mess that I am. And I'm busy over here saying, no, you are not a hot mess. There may be a hot mess that's coming out of your body, out of your nervous system, but that's not what you are. You are this gentle, open, awake, aware, innocent, indestructible light. This mysterious essence that is so beautiful and so pure and so radiant. And of course, if you're a Kundalini person and you have this immense Shakti that's flowing through you, and I want to see the Shakti flourish. I want to see it thrive. I want to see it express itself. And most of us, if we're deeply honest, we're tired of our ego expressing itself. When I met my teacher, I came to him and I was tired of my ego expressing itself. I was tired of it. And when you have a child and the child goes into a tantrum, you can't just let them rule your life. You have to look at that child sometimes and say, stop, stop, like stop it. Breathe, feel, open, and see that daddy loves you. See that mother loves you. See with your eyes. See that you are living now. You are not dying. Because again, like with Kundalini folks, because the energy can be so intense, sometimes it feels like we're dying. Sometimes it feels like, you know, something crazy is happening. And when you look at your experience directly, not from your overstimulated nervous system, but when you look at your experience of Kundalini Shakti and all the phenomena that's flowing through you, all the trauma that's being emptied out and brought to the surface to be healed, and when you see from a place of peace, you begin to see it's all light, it's all space, it's all truth, it's all bliss, it's Satchidananda. But if you allow your mind to paint a picture of reality for you, you look at your mind, you look at Kundalini from the perspective of your mind, and it looks like this is too much. I can't handle this. I don't like this. This doesn't feel good. And then the mind like starts like attacking itself and judging itself. And it's like, it can spin these whole worlds of insanity. Whole worlds. Whole worlds of insanity. And the invitation here is an invitation to wake up and to be sane. To be sane. To truly be sane. It's very difficult to get anywhere on the path if we're insane. It's just very difficult. It's very difficult to move, to make progress, to heal, to grow. If we have total faith in what our thinking and emotional nature is telling us. The great gift that my teacher gave me was that he was a living presence in my life. I'd have to go see him. I'd have to rush up to his house every day at 8 a.m. It's like, good morning, David. Good morning. I'd say, hello. Are you ready to work? My teacher, he was all business. He was all business. Said, are you ready to work? Yes, David. I'm ready to work. He wasn't going to entertain all the thoughts in my mind. He wasn't going to give that part of me a microphone. His presence, his directness taught me to stop, to stand in the peace, to choose the peace. And so this whole thing he said, do you want to know how to get control of your mind? I've never liked that word control. But what he taught me is he taught me how to choose. He taught me that there were two worlds. One, a world of my mind, like the world that the Buddha spoke about, the world of samsara, the world of illusion, the world of insanity, or the world of truth. I cannot choose that world for you. You must choose. You must choose. So I'm going to invite everyone here to close your eyes. And I want you to just gently scan your body, your mind. I want you to find a point of tension, a point of resistance, a place where things are resistant, or are fighting, or are divided. And for some of you, you might look right there in in the space of your mind and be like, oh yeah, there's some arguing voices, judging voices, confused voices. And for others of you, it might be buried more deeply. In the lower heart chakra, maybe in the solar plexus, maybe in the hara, maybe in regards to your relationship with your family system, maybe in regards to your relationship with life itself. And so I invite you to find anything that is grumbling, ruminating, fighting, resisting. And sometimes it'll just be like a subtle clinch. Sometimes it'll be a big, loud voice. He doesn't know what he's talking about. He doesn't understand me. Sometimes it's the opposite. I don't understand what's happening. I'm confused. And whatever it is, I'm going to invite you to look at that thing within you and to say, stop. Stop. No more. No more. Stop. No more. Stop. And as we say stop, we're deepening in truth. Deepening in true nature. Deepening in peace. Deepening in love. Deepening in love. Deepening in silence. Deepening in the recognition all is God. All is light. All is love. Deepening. And so I invite you to breathe, to feel, to soften, to root down, to root in the truth. To root down, to root in the truth. So literally envisioning roots growing from your hara, your bottom, your legs, your feet, into the earth, merging into this depth, expanding into this quiet immensity. And within this space of immensity, we soften, we open further, we trust in this Kundalini Shakti. We let it flow. We let it flow. And because we're rooted so deeply, because we are so open and vast, there's plenty of room for light, for Shakti, for fire, for the energies of purification to flow, to flow. There's room for everything which is untrue to unravel and release. And so here again is a point where people get confused. While the unraveling is happening, you continue to stop, to root down, to root in. And you let anything which is chaotic, confused, distorted, you let it burn up in this light. You let it burn up. And sometimes people stop and then they pick the thing up again. And so the stopping, it's a final stop. It's a full stop. It's having complete and total faith in your divinity and having zero faith in the story of your mind. The story of your nervous system. As you have faith and peace and invite your nervous system to plug into peace, and your nervous system becomes peaceful. And then if you stay plugged in long enough, your nervous system becomes joyful. And your body begins to feel like a temple. And as you invite your mind to stop, and you give it a little bit of time to begin to unravel and to release all those silly, nonsensical thoughts and arguments and judgments and infighting and all that kind of stuff. Then we give our mind permission to plug into this peace. And the mind begins to wake up and realize it is peace. It is space. It's not just a neurotic, anxious thinking program. The mind begins to wake up and realize that it is peace, it is space. And out of this space can arise divine intelligence, which feels like peace, which feels like power, which feels like truth. And so just throughout the day, if you notice, if you feel into your mind, if you feel into your thoughts, and you realize, oh, these thoughts are insane, they're anxious, they're fighting, they're resisting, they're just habitually running. We invite it all to stop. We invite it all to stop. We root down, we root into this peace. And so,